Hi, my name is Kitty Hughes, and I'm here to talk to you about friends and enemies. This project was created to bring a little bit of joy to everyone's life during quarantine, and I'm really happy to be able to share it with everyone. I've definitely found that I've been feeling particularly, cut off and lonely during these terrible times, and to be able to bring some kind of joy to everyone's face is it's an important goal of mine. How'd you start the project? Yeah, so this all started because I'm in a surrealist film class, and in it we read the Surrealist Manifesto the first week of school. And what's really interesting to me about that is that I think when you typically have art movements and people create art movements, they're centered around an aesthetic. So pop art is based on color and popular images, and other artistic movements, you can tell them pretty much exclusively based on their aesthetics. But I wanted to create an artistic movement that was centered around community rather than a particular look or feel. So I wrote the Synergist Manifesto, and as a result of that, I realized that the real goals that I had surrounding my personal art practice were ones that had to do with creating community and connection. And so synergy, by definition, is the building of something that is greater than simply its parts all together. So when you have different people or different parts coming together, it creates something bigger and better than the thing that would have existed just from those parts on their own. And it's based on a lot of things, but I used to live part-time in a house called Synergy in college. There were a ton of artists and creatives there, and it really changed a lot of my life. So being able to kind of spread the message of community is something that's more important now than ever. What other than synergy is affecting this? Yeah, definitely. So there are a few things other than synergy that make this particular project, Friends and Enemies, really important. So I have a lot of friends who do a lot of different things. I have friends who are scientists and artists and musicians, and what's really important is, one, everyone has something that they can talk about for hours on end. I found that when I've reached out to my friends and I say, I want you to, give a 10-minute conversation with me, they have a million things they can talk about. And, specifically when it's work related, like, it's hard for someone who's like in science, for example, like I used to be a physics researcher, to get up and give a conversation or give a talk about my work. And that's something that's kind of unfortunate. You want everyone to be able to talk more about the things that they do, the things they spend time on, and the things that they love and enjoy. And so that's a really important thing for me going forward with these conversations, is there's a benefit to me to learn from all of my friends. There's a benefit to my friends because they get the opportunity to discuss something they love, but they also get practice. It's really uncomfortable sometimes to talk about the things that we're working on, either because they're really complicated topics, or just because it's hard. It's hard to get up and talk about these things. Um, Seems like there's a lot going on. What are some of your influences going? Yeah, there's a few other things behind this too. The first part is I really do want to spread joy. My motto is that every day when I wake up, I want to create something that puts a smile on someone's face. That's it. That's why all of my work looks like it does. That's why I create the kinds of work that I do. And that's not everyone's shtick. Everyone has a very different way of expressing themselves and different goals for their life. But for me, that's what's really important. And to be able to create work that is interesting for people and makes them engaged and a little bit more connected when the world is falling apart, um, that means I've, attained my sort of goal. And then the other thing is that, I was listening to, at the beginning of quarantine, one of my favorite artists, musicians, did a series every single night. He put on a series, like a concert, a miniature concert that was like 20 minutes long of him just singing some songs. And while I was at my old job, it would be like night 1, night 2, night 54, night 55, like, every night he would come on and he would sing something, and that created a really small, beautiful community around his listeners of being like, we're going to get through this. No matter how long this is going to last. And I think it's about time that we start creating work with the tools that we have, to really bring us together in a literal way, rather than just using, community as a talking point. Do you have any advice or philosophy for people in quarantine? Like a message? Yeah. I would say that my main message going forward is to a few things. One, to take care of yourself, to let yourself recharge, but two, to really, reach out to those around you. Talking to people and learning from them is healing beyond belief. Just being able to reconnect with a lot of my friends over this project and hearing what they're up to and the things that they're interested in is just really amazing. Whether I'm talking to them for 10 minutes about, what their dog has been up to, or whether it's about, their favorite species of extinct animal and why it's so cool. These are real things that make uh, things seem a little bit more human. And I think that's what we could all use a little bit more of right now. What else are you working on? Yeah, I'm very busy. School has been incredible and hectic and amazing, and I can talk about a few of the things that I've been working on outside of this. So, a few months ago, I launched my own design firm called Splat, and I've just been working on my portfolio and working on the branding for the company, and it's been fairly exciting to just kind of learn about what goes into design generally. And I think that's personally very exciting, but I think what's more exciting are some of the things that I'm doing on the side to kind of get people interested in like me as an artist. So I've been making like weird scarves in the shape of arms, and I've been putting googly eyes on everything and making stop motion animations of skeletons like dancing and doing things. And I just am really interested in kind of the more fun aspects of life. If you can tell, that's kind of a theme of both this conversation and my overarching practice. But I've been watching a lot of cartoons, and I think a lot more people are watching, their favorite feel-good movies from when they were a child. And I think spreading that kind of like joy and excitement is a huge part of what I'm doing now. I've also been doing a fair bit of writing, and I found that writing is also, and even these conversations are a form of very similar communication of ideas. And, I can make something that looks pretty, but if you don't hear me talking about what goes on behind the scenes, you're not going to be able to understand its importance as much, maybe. Um, which is part of what I wrote about in the Synergist Manifesto is like, yeah, making work is cool, but making work with other people, with a message and a meaning, that gives a lot more like warmth and body to your art practice. So that's what I've been up to. That's why I'm having these conversations. Um, so we're just wrapping up. What are you excited for going forward? Yeah, parting messages. Oof, there's so many. I guess I am just really excited to see where this project goes. I want to see as many people as possible talk about as many different things as possible, from the very small and kind of, you know, maybe insubstantial, enjoyable little thing to very serious, like large scale issues that people want to talk about right now, and things that exist within the zeitgeist. So I think that's very valuable, and I don't know. I'm personally just very excited to see where this all ends up leading. Me too. Yeah, well, thank you for coming. It's been a real pleasure to be able to talk about these things and get people excited. I'm very much looking forward to a long, wacky career, making people laugh and smile. And if they're laughing at me or with me, it doesn't really matter at this point. Anything that makes people feel a little bit good. And I do think it is such a talking point for people to like bridge the digital divide or whatever. But I feel like not enough people are working to actually do that and make it work and make people happy, and that's the main purpose of this. So, thanks for having me, and I look forward to more of these conversations going forward. Me too. Thank you.